Hello and welcome to Cyberman Son, episode 15. And we're here at the Cyber Control Center. I am Steven.
And I am Andrew.
Okay, Andrew, so do you remember there was a two-parter called Human Nature and the Family of Blood, where the Doctor disguised himself as a human? Do you remember how he did it? Nope. I'll have to rewatch that one because that one's great. He used a little fob watch. Well, it looked like a fob watch, but it wasn't. It was a Time Lord device. It plugged into his head. It allowed him to think that he was human. It rewrote his biology so he could hide from the Family of Blood by pretending to be a human and living a human life back right before World War I as a school teacher. Do you remember him being a school teacher? Definitely got to rewatch that one. Well, anyways, so all you need to know from that is that there was a device, a Time Lord device, that can erase their memory temporarily, and it stores all their Time Lord essence and holds on to it. And when you release it, poop. So that's kind of what we need to know. We're all the way now at the end of the 10th Doctor's run. In the specials, they weren't actually a season. It was too few episodes, so they're called the specials. What's the name of our episode, Andrew?
The Next Doctor.
The Next Doctor. Oh, hold on a sec. Is he meeting the 11th Doctor? Is that what's going on here? Not really, but what is going on? We are going to find out, and what are the Cybermen up to this time? Right? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Another cold open. Oh, wow, yeah, cold open, there we go. The Doctor has just lost Donna, and he's traveling alone for a little bit.
Having no people hooliganing over it.
Who's gone as the best? Again.
How far?
Good question.
Looks like the 18...
Something's, yes.
1830s. On that time.
You there, boy? What day is this?
Christmas Eve, sir.
What year?
You fickle something.
Boy, just answer the question.
Year of our Lord, 1851, sir.
1851.
Nice year. Bit dull.
Christmas. 18... Oh, someone else is there.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Don't worry. Stand back. What have we got here, then? Ooh. Okay, I've got it. And whatever's behind that door, I think you should get out of here. Come on, I'm standing right here. Hello.
Don't be stupid. Who are you?
I'm the doctor.
Doctor who?
Just the doctor.
Well, there can't be two of you. Where the hell have you been?
Don't worry. Stand back. What have we got here then?
Oh, hold on. Who are you?
I'm the Doctor. Simply the Doctor. The one, the only, and the best. Rosita, give me the sonic screwdriver. What? Now, quickly, get back to the TARDIS.
What?
If you could stand back, sir. This is a job for a Time Lord.
Job for what, Lord?
Oh, that's new. Oh, gee!
So what do you think that is?
That's a cyber beast.
It's called a Cybershade. So it's like a Cybermat, but if a Cybermat's a rodent, a Cybershade's like a cat or a dog. Now it's interesting because Time Lords, and usually the Doctor himself, Time Lords recognize each other despite regeneration, usually. So the fact that the Doctor says, "Wait, this is me?" He seems very confused by it.
That's not what the Doctor looks like. None of the Doctors.
I've been hunting this beast for a good fortnight now. Step back, son.
Well, where do you think it's so funny? You're mad. Both of you. You could have got killed.
But evidently we did not. Oh, I should introduce Rosita, my faithful companion, always telling me off.
What I do, don't I? Rosita. Good name.
Rose,
Rosita.
Rose and Martha, kind of put together.
All that for nothing. And we've only got 20 minutes to the funeral, don't forget. Then back to the TARDIS, right?
Funeral? A long story. Traveling, sir. Might I ask, who are you exactly?
No, I'm just Smith, John Smith. But I've heard all about you, Doctor. Bit of a legend.
So now the Doctor's wanting, something's gone wrong.
Modesty
Oh,
forbids
John
me to
Smith,
agree
isn't
with
that
you,
the
sir,
name?
but yes.
that
Yes,
he's
I have.
always faked as?
Yeah, always,
Legend
yeah.
with certain memories missing.
Why John Smith?
How do you know that?
You've forgotten me.
Report, Cybershade 16 has made contact. Then observe the enemy. This man is dangerous.
What happened to the
This man
cyber
is
leader?
our enemy.
Again, seeing the brains.
Is the
I've been
doctor.
hunting this beast for a good fortnight now.
The Cyber King will rise.
Cyber King.
The
Interesting.
Cyber King will rise. Indeed.
There's always a human who thinks that they can control the Cybermen
I
by
feel
aligning
excuse me.
themselves with it.
I have a funeral to attend.
It's such a bad idea. It's always such a bad idea. Never, never ally yourself with the Cybermen.
Unless you want him to convert.
Oh yeah, because, you know, promises to aliens have no validity.
His place of residence for the last time. You seem familiar, Mr. Smith. I know your face. But how?
I met you
I wonder.
literally half an
I
hour
can't imagine seeing you
ago.
wearing a fob watch.
Here's what I'm talking about.
Legend has it that the memories of a Time Lord can be contained within a watch. Do you mind? It said, if it's opened. Oh, maybe not.
It's more for decoration.
Yeah. Anyway, alien infiltration.
Yes.
The night I lost my mind. The night I regenerated.
Generated to look the exact same.
The Cybermen. They made me change. My mind, my place, my whole self.
So now what the Doctor's suspecting is that he's in a post-regenerative crisis. Whenever the Doctor regenerates, and we've seen this before, he tends to have his marbles a little scrambled, and he has some memory problems and personality problems whenever he's first regenerated. Usually he's very, very sleepy and very tired. Sometimes he's super hyper. So now the Doctor's suspecting that's what happened. He's very recently regenerated, and his mind hasn't settled yet.
Final check. Won't take a tick. Is there one more thing I can't think of? This room's got info stamps.
Remember what happened when the 11th Doctor, like when the 10th had recently regenerated to the 11th Doctor?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
All the food, yeah.
I think we should run.
He's like, I like apples. You have apples?
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, because he hadn't settled.
Ooh, apple. It's like, that's a strong weapon.
It's not a weapon, it's a info stamp.
What's that?
It contained knowledge, remember?
Cyclops started cool.
Knowledge!
Overload.
Only the Doctor could think of that.
I did that.
Jackson Lake had an info stamp.
But how? Is that significant?
Doctor, the answer to all this is in your TARDIS. Can I see it?
Mr. Smith, it would be my honor.
There she is. By transport through time and space.
A big blue balloon.
You've got a blue?
TARDIS. TARDIS. It stands for Tennant Aerial Release Developed in Style. Do you see?
Well, I do now. I told you the answer was in the fob watch. Can I see? J.L. The watch is Jackson Lake's.
Jackson Lake is you, sir.
He's not the Doctor.
But I'm the Doctor.
You became the Doctor because the info stamp you picked up was a book about one particular man. Cybermen's database. Starting from the Daleks inside the void, I'd say. But it's everything you could want to know about the Doctor.
That's you.
Time Lord, TARDIS, enemy of the Cybermen. weren't the only. You see, the info stamp must have backfired. Streamed all that information about me right inside your head.
So it was like a book about the Doctor went flooded inside of his head. All that information. And so he began to believe he was the Doctor.
You have wisdom. If the Doctor is planning to intervene, then the ascension will commence immediately.
Excellent. And as for you, Mr. Cole, Mr. Scoons, Mr. Fetch, and Mr. Milligan, your work is done.
Although I would wonder if the Cybermen would much rather just convert them, you know?
Must have been guarding this. A dimension vault. Stolen from the Daleks again. That's how the Cybermen travel through time. Jackson, is this it? The thing you couldn't remember?
I don't think so. I just can't see. It's like it's hidden.
Ah, not enough power. Come on, Avanti!
The chair you designate as throne is not intended for me. My function is to serve the Cyber King, not to become the Cyber King.
Then who sits there?
Whoops.
Now, just... I think if you remember correctly, you said I was to be heralded.
All hail the Cyber King. All hail the Cyber King.
But you promised me you said I would never be converted.
That was designated a lie.
Oh, what? The Cybermen lied? What a surprise! Andrew! Andrew!
What's going on? What's going on?
Never fear, young lad. This is a job for Andrew.
But I'm Andrew.
No. I'm Andrew. I'm the 11-year-old boy known as Andrew, and I am here to save the day.
But that's me.
Now, step back. I'm going to use my sonic screwdriver, and I'm going to stop this vile threat once and for all. All right. Actually, on second thought, if you want to take care of this, I'm going to go and I'm going to find the police, okay?
No. You said you were going to take care of this.
Well, I may have misspoke, so tell you what, you handle this, and I'll stand over the side looking brave.
Okay.
Okay.
The Cyber King is born. All hail the Cyber King.
Oh, but this is glorious.
That is incorrect. Glorious is an emotional response.
Exactly. There is so much joy in this machine.
Joy is not acceptable.
Don't you see? My mind is stronger than you ever thought. It dominates, sir. It dominates you.
Alert, you are operating beyond the standard parameters.
I am new. The might of your technology combined with my own imagination. Yes! There will be a new race of Cybermen, my Cybermen. Logic and strength combined with fury and passion.
Diagnosis, system failure. You will be removed from the processor.
Yeah.
What's happening? It's out of control.
What's going on?
Well, the ground is uneven. Like, it's all over the place. Plus, also, the sound stage is kind of small. You see, look at the ground. It's just like, it's up, down, steps everywhere. And look at their shoes. Plus, it's a small sound stage.
My son.
Doctor, my son! They took my son. No wonder my mind escaped those damn Cybermen. They took my child. But he's alive, Doctor. Frederick! Come on!
Jackson!
Stay there! Don't move! I'm coming!
Cyber King, rising!
What's going on?
What are we gonna do, Doctor? What are we gonna do?
Did he have that sword the whole time?
Oh, so where did he keep it?
Yeah, right. That's like Highlander right there.
Hold on tight, don't let go.
What convenient timing.
There's something in the drums!
Oh my.
Head for the street!
Come on, Doctor, hurry up!
Gotcha!
Why does the town look like that?
Behold, I am risen. Witness me, mankind, a Cyber King of all.
It's a Cyber King!
The Cyber King is what?
It's a ship, Dreadnought class, front line of an invasion. And inside the chest, a cyber factory, ready to convert millions.
And I will walk. I will stride across this tiny, little world. My people.
If it's that big, and it's
Well,
cyber,
they're
it should be
not
real slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not very fast. It's just how big it is, taking big steps.
Take him to go to Parliament!
Where are you going?
Stop that thing!
Well, I should be with you.
Jackson, you've got your son. You've got a reason to live.
That's Shadow the Colossus. How are you gonna stop that thing?
And behold my power.
That's actually a pretty weak blast for a thing that big.
Yeah.
I think if he can fly a extra dimensional machine, then he can fly a hot air balloon.
Yeah, you think so, but like I can drive a car, that doesn't mean I can ride a horse.
Yeah, but one is far more complicated than the other. Why this part is so big? Size of his
Excellent.
freaking head.
The Doctor. Yet another man come to assert himself against me in the night.
Miss Hart again? I'm offering you a choice. You might have the most remarkable mind this world has ever seen. Strong enough to control the Cybermen themselves.
So I don't need you to sanction me.
No, but such a mind deserves to live. The Cybermen came to this world using a dimension bolt. I can use that device to find you a home, with no people to convert, but a new world, where you can live out your mechanical life in peace.
I have the world below. And it is abundant, with so many minds ready to become extensions of me. Why would I leave this place?
Because if you don't, I'll have to stop you.
Destroy him!
You make me into this.
Then I have made you a failure. Your weapons are useless, sir.
I wasn't trying to kill you. All I did was break the cyber connection, leaving your mind open. Open, I think, for the first time in far too many years. So you can see. Just look at yourself.
Ugh.
Now you're ready.
It's the dimensional vault. It's how the Cybermen got in there in the first place. They took it from the... It's the thing that lets Sec remember the emergency temporal shifts. It's that sort of device. So the Cybermen stole it from the Daleks so they could get it over here.
You won't stay.
Nonsense, you know me.
No. I don't think anyone does.
Oh, and this is it. Oh,
Oh, hi, my doctor. One last adventure.
Oh, be my guest.
Oh, my word.
They leave? Because they should, or they find someone else. And some of them forget me. I suppose in the end.
How do you forget?
He's talking about Donna. Donna had her memory wiped. He had to wipe her memory.
They break my heart.
That offer of Christmas dinner. It's no longer a request, it's a demand.
In memory of those we've lost. Oh, go on then.
Really?
Just this once. You've actually gone and changed my mind. Not many people can do that. Jackson, if anyone had to be the doctor, I'm glad it was you.
The feast awaits. Come with me. Walk this way.
I certainly will. Merry Christmas to you, Jackson.
Merry Christmas indeed, Doctor.
Planet of the Dead. Alright, so that was The Next Doctor. Andrew, what did you think of The Next Doctor?
It was good.
Well, what made it good? What did you like about it? Well, do you want to hear my thoughts? Okay. Here's my first thought. Okay. The Cyber King. What did the doctor say about it? Because he recognized it. He said, a Cyber King. What did he say about it?
It was a machine.
Well, yeah, but you remember he said it was Dreadnought class, and it was what they use as a front line on invasions, right? So why haven't we seen it before? Well, let's think about it. How many invasions have we seen them do? The moon base, they invaded there, right? Frontline invasion, right? What about the invasion? Frontline invasion. We didn't see a Cyber King there, right?
And
Wheel in Space, didn't see one there. Attack of the Cybermen, we didn't see one there. They weren't making one. So I'm actually really surprised about like they could have had a Cyber King. That's fine. But having the Doctor recognize and say, oh, Dreadnought class is what they do during invasions and stuff. No, we've never seen it before. It's okay for it to be a new thing, a new weapon. The Doctor's like, what is that? That would have been fine. But for some reason, they're like, Cyber King, I recognize this. And actually, to be honest, what do you think about the design of the Cyber King? The giant walking Cyberman.
pretty cool.
But you noticed something about it when it was walking, right?
What?
Well, you said it was slow. And the Doctor said that it was capable of converting millions into Cybermen in its chest, but its chest wasn't that big. I don't think you could even keep 50 people in that chest. So it would take a while, and I don't see much practicality of having it walk. Like maybe if it was a hover vehicle of some kind, right? A flying ship. That would make more sense. I think they just wanted a really cool, giant-looking Cyberman, but I didn't think it made much sense. Besides the it looks cool sort of thought. What'd you think? Okay. Here we get introduced to Cybershades, which are basically like Cybermats, except they're like we said, Cybermats are like rodents. Cybershades are like cats and dogs, kind of a frontline sort of thing. It's interesting. I think they want to reintroduce the idea of Cybermats, but they didn't want to do Cybermats. So they wanted to do something kind of like Cybermats, right? Which one do you prefer, Cybermats or Cybershades?
Cybershade.
Why is that?
Because they're far more effective. And they can do much more things than a Cyberman can.
Yeah, very true. Notice as well that we actually see the Cyber Leader's big old brain. which that dates back all the way to Tomb of the Cybermen. We can see that's Cyber Leader's brain as well. That's interesting. And kind of again going back to the invasion, where they were able to stop the Cybermen with overloading their emotions. And even in Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel, there was overloading them through emotions. They did a similar thing here, except instead of overloading their emotions, they overloaded their brains. And again, with the, removing the emotional inhibitor, making them realize who they are, that's again the Doctor's fallback. He just said, "No, Miss Hartigan, hey, take a look at yourself, look at what you've become." And then that caused her to, like the Cyberman Rider, to explode, and then she exploded. And oh wait, and the thing about Miss Hartigan, she's yet another human who seems to think, I'm going to become the Cybermen's ally, and they're going to do things for me, and I'm going to let them invade the Earth, and I have complete control, and we see this all the time. And to be honest, Andrew, I'm starting to get tired of it. Because the writers do it all the time. Somebody betrays humans to work with the Cybermen, and I mean, we've seen it a lot now at this point. It happens all the time. And enough with it. Let's find some other way for the Cybermen to sneak their way in besides having a collaborator. Enough with it. Okay, now here's my next question. These are the Cybermen from Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they managed to come back from the void. Where are their guns?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gone back to the hand deleting thing again. Where are the guns? Like, they could have used guns. Like, that would have been super handy for them, but where are the guns? So before I get into how bad the Cybermen's plan is, and believe me, it's a bad plan, there's a couple things I want to go over. First off, when the Doctor saw the TARDIS and saw the TARDIS and saw that it was a hot air balloon, he should have checked first that it wasn't actually the TARDIS. Because remember, the TARDIS had, like, what if the Doctor in the future had fixed the chameleon circuit and it was just disguised as a hot air balloon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it turn into some other crazy stuff before. We've seen it turn into a pipe organ and a decorative stand and an archway. Theoretically, it could have...
I think it got him at one day it will fly.
Yeah. Now, so remember Jackson, like, the reason why he thought he was the Doctor is he lost his memory because he had just experienced a huge trauma with his wife being murdered and his son being kidnapped, and then he got the Doctor's info stamp blasted into his head, right? And the Doctor says, well, that's called a fugue state. That's actually a real thing. It's called dissociative fugue. It's a real thing when a person has tremendous, and it's very rare, but whenever a person has tremendous trauma, sometimes, rarely, they will forget who they are, they'll get a new identity, and they'll go live somewhere else, and they will think that they're someone else. Not for long, for a few weeks usually, but it is a real thing. A fugue is a real thing, but very, very rare. Like, super rare. Let's talk about the Cybermen's plan here, because I think they got a bad plan. So let's walk through their plan, okay? Their plan is, boom, okay, we've got some Dalek technology, great, we can escape the void and go back to Earth. Okay, we're in Earth in the 19th century. What are we going to do? Okay, the plan is, let's build a Cyber King, and let's convert all these people into Cybermen. That makes sense so far, right? But how are they doing it? They're going to kidnap kids. They're going to recruit an angry lady to trick orphanage masters into bringing in more kids. And then they're going to take the angry lady and make her an interface to control the Cyber King. Why her? Why make a Cyber King? Why use kids? Like, why use kids?
Yeah.
You know what I would do? Okay. Do you remember the episode Daleks in Manhattan? Remember when Dalek Sec said emergency temporal shift?
Emergency temporal shift!
He went back in time to when the Empire State Building was being built, and the Daleks were turning it into a gigantic. And don't get me wrong, Daleks in Manhattan is a bad episode. It's pretty bad, but the Daleks were installing devices and stuff on top of the Empire State Building for their plants, they didn't use kids. They used a guy, a collaborator. Yes, another the Daleks sometimes get collaborators as well, to hire people to do it and say, hey, you got to get this done, otherwise I'll fire you and I'll get somebody off the street to do your job. So they just hired people to do it. And who did they hire? They hired skilled laborers who could do the job. So, I mean, as bad as that episode was, that made sense because they hired people who could actually do the job. They didn't use kids to build the Empire State Building. So why on earth, like, child labor? I mean, it's... And if you're like, well, Steve, you know what? It was a different time, blah, blah, blah. No. There's plenty of poor people on the streets in 1851 London that you could hire that would make more sense than kids. And there's probably plenty of people who, you know, can work on steel and metal refinery or whatever that you can get to work and not really know what they're doing. Like, child labor just doesn't make much sense to me. To make a giant walking robot that's underwater to convert people, I don't know. The plan didn't make a lot of sense to me. I wasn't on board for the plan. But then again, the Cybermen, as we've discussed before, tend not to have very good plans, eh? Yeah. All right. One last thing. Let's look at our timeline. Okay. So this one actually goes all the way at the beginning. If you're not counting Silver Nemesis, remember Silver Nemesis in the past Lady Painfork, but the Cybermen weren't there. So we're at all the way at the beginning. The next Doctor we've established is Christmas Eve and Christmas 1851. And based on the Doctor's conversation with Rosita, it sounds like the Cybermen had been there for possibly a couple months. They'd been there quite a while. Because Rosita said, one night, this and this happened. She didn't say, last week or a few days ago. She said one night. So, and plus to build the Cyber King, I'm saying they probably were there a few months. But the story takes place Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, 1851. Again, Planet 14, which may or may not have something to do with Silver Nemesis, takes place sometime before 1970. Possibly before 1851, who knows. The invasion takes place in the early 1970s, although the BBC website also says 1969. Attack of the Cybermen on Earth is 1985. The 10th planet is 1986, when Mondas goes... Silver Nemesis is 1988. Army of Ghosts and Doomsday is 2007, probably early to mid 2007, because Cyberwoman is then a few months later, late 2007. The moon base is around 2070. The Wheel in Space is somewhere between 2071 to 2119. Earthshock and the beginning of the Orion Cyber Wars is 2526. Tomb of the Cybermen is around 2570. Revenge of the Cybermen 2875. Attack of the Cybermen on Telos in the future is probably somewhere in the 30th century. And real time is 3286. Now the reason why it's good to mention this timeline is because the next Doctor takes place before all these at the beginning. So, at some point going forward, these Cybermen, these Cybus Industry Cybermen, somehow what is left of them, the Mondasian Cybermen, pick up as well. Because we will find that in future episodes, the Mondasian Cybermen have taken parts of the Cybus Cybermen and incorporated them, and the two Cybermen will kind of merge. But we will cover that. We will cover that as we get to it. Okay, Andrew, let's put our cyber thinking caps on. How many Cybermats would you rate the next Doctor?
3.8.
3.8. I think that's pretty fair. It's certainly not one of the stronger Cybermen stories. It's got a few questionable stuff to it, but I think what kind of makes it really watchable is someone embodying the Doctor who's not the Doctor, and kind of learning about who the Doctor is through someone else's eyes. And plus, we're getting close to the end of the 10th Doctor. We are going to rate the next Doctor 3.8 Cybermats. So next time, Andrew, we're actually going to go into the second series of Matt Smith's 11th Doctor. So we're jumping forward a couple years again to the next episode, and it's called...
Closing Time.
Closing Time. And we get to see what exactly the Cybermen are up to this time, and why does it involve a shopping mall?
Like and subscribe. How many Cybermats would you give it? And if you really want to, like every single video on this channel. And I recommend doing that. And don't flag us, please.
See you next time.